Almost every multiplayer VR shooter wants to be paintball nowadays.
Is this a flashbang? Do I just press the button and then throw when I'm ready?
Hey, you. You're finally awake.
I, for one, won laser tag. And it just so happens, Frenzies delivers. Frenzies is a VR shooter by Nearlight, an nDreams studio, creators of Fract, the ever-impressive Synapse, and Vendetta Forever. While these guys are pretty good at making single-player endeavors, this is probably their first foray into a proper PvP experience. What did they end up making? What I can only describe as a VR party game with guns. I know it sounds absolutely stupid, but bear with me for a moment. When a majority of the competition are shooters with an intense focus on realistic reloads and complex mechanics, it's nice having something that dumps things down to the basics. So if all you wanted was to go shooty shooty bang bang, well, then let me tell you more about how Frenzies gives all that and more. Matches in Frenzies consist of 5 rounds with up to 12 players. Or bots if you're unlucky. Each round has various different game modes and rule sets to it. You have standard ones such as Team Deathmatch, Control Points, and Free-for-all, but also absolutely insane ones like Button Bash, Pool Party, or even Red Light, Green Light, with the quote-unquote insane ones having crazy rules attached to them, which adds to the game's natural chaos. Speaking of that chaos, some rounds will split players into 3 or 4 teams, resulting in multiple teams all competing against each other for a spot at the top. With each round, you're given points based on your performance within it. Whether your team wins or not is also factored in, so it's best to work with whoever you're stuck with. Your replacement once it ends depends on how many points you earn, akin to a Grand Prix mode in a kart racer. The person with the most points by the end of 5 rounds wins the game, and gets to tower over everyone else with how cool they are.
Why are we so big? Oh, that's actually sick.
It's pretty simple stuff, with most rounds usually taking around 3 to 5 minutes. So most full games generally last around 25 minutes each. Enough time to get 3 to 5 rounds on a single headset charge. Probably one of the most unique aspects with Frenzies is the gun selection. The game presents you with a multitude of weapons from assault rifles, SMGs, shotguns, to even handguns. All of which you can customize as you see fit with different skins, and can easily change inside the throne room or during matches by using the wall. The reason there are 2 walls of weapons is because each weapon can be equipped to each side, so you can go with 2 of the same weapon, or mix it up and have 1 weapon for different situations. There's not really so much a best weapon, merely a right weapon for the right situation, so it helps to pick the loadout to fit both your playstyle, the round's mode, and the stage you'll be fighting on. One thing all of these weapons share in common, aside from the strange names I guess, seriously, a shotgun being called the Bad Baby? Good golly, it even does a baby goal if you get a headshot. Anyway, every weapon has a pretty simple reload system. Empty the weapon from shooting or pressing the reload button, put your hand or other weapon next to the floating ammo, and you're good to go. It's always nice to have a reload system in one of these multiplayer games that is purely arcade focused, allowing most of the focus to just be on aiming and shooting.
Try to split your focus between 2 guns.
Oh, damn. Ah, where are they? Where did you come from?
On that note, I guess I should also mention the crosshairs. Cause yeah, every weapon uses a drawn reticle. Not sure if that's the best way to describe it, but it basically means you always know where the gun is pointing at. It's designed after each weapon, the crosshair gets bigger while moving, and it changes when aiming through red dots or irons. I quite like it since it encourages firing from the hip for short-range engagements, and aiming down sights for long-range engagements based on your chosen weapons. This does make aiming with 2 of the same weapon tricky because of the reticle icons, but it's doable I guess. Oh yeah, holding the same weapon. so you aren't able to virtually stabilize weapons with your other hand. This is less a problem with the game's gunplay, and more of a habit that is hard to break. After all, almost every single VR shooter nowadays encourages and rewards firing weapons with two hands to stabilize the gun, whereas Frenzies encourages firing both weapons at the same time to get the most bang for your buck. So not so much a system issue, more so muscle memory. Since Frenzies is in early access, a lot of aspects are subject to change, so it's hard to really complain about anything without it being addressed in some way. Case in point, two of the biggest issues with players were reworked while I was working on this very video. The game's virtual play space was originally very tiny, making it hard to physically move around without it messing things up in some way, oftentimes resulting in player models contorting like a pretzel. Also, since you were sent back to the match lobby every time you died to select your weapons, it kinda became a pacebreaker for some, especially if you died quite often in a game where seconds count. With those being fixed, there isn't much else I can really say without it being better posted in the Discord suggestion forum, aside from maybe asking for either a 180-degree turn or making it so the game's dash can be directed via the stick instead of the headset direction. Oh, and maybe a microphone toggle of some sort. Since the left and right stick go unused, given there is no sprint, having the ability to mute yourself instead of having to open the menu would be nice. Hopefully if this game continues to get support, we might see things like friends list or group system of some kind so it's possible to queue into a game with specific players. Who knows? Maybe they'll even make a 6-player lobby possible at some point. Half the players, but still the same chaotic mess. Frenzies is genuinely becoming one of my favorite VR multiplayer shooters so far, which might not sound like a lot, but something you might not know about me is that I'm extremely picky when it comes to PvP shooters, especially of the VR variety. I don't like bomb defusal, extraction, or battle royale style modes in the slightest, partly because I don't like the idea of dying once and being out of the game, even more so when I have a digital brick strapped on my face and my time is limited. So for the longest time, Hyperdash has been my one and only go-to, especially when many of the other options make those aforementioned modes their identity. Here though, for the first time in around 4 years, I actually have a multiplayer VR shooter to look forward to. Its simplistic gunplay and mechanics, fun round-based gimmicks, and style just keeps me coming back for more. It would also be a crime to go without mentioning the large amount of customization options for both the player model and the weapons you'll be using. Not to mention the numerous hand gestures you can use to express yourself. So if you're looking for a fun time in order to kill some time, Frenzies just might be the answer you need. Frenzies is currently available in early access over on the Quest store for free, with PSVR 2 set for when it ends. So get ready to dominate the chaos and win it for the throne. Think you got what it takes? Only one way to find out.